Hi guys, it's Bobby, your big gay trucker from LGBTQ plus Truck Driver Network. And this week, I'm continuing with putting faces to the drivers that we see going down the highway all the time. And one of my friends that I've never met on the road, never met yet, but like we've been friends for a while. And he's going to come and talk to us a little bit about him being his life on the road and obstacles he faces and stuff like that. So um, give me just a minute. I think he's back.
Hey,
Hold on, here we go. There you are.
yes.
So today I have James with me, and we've been friends for a while. Never have met yet. When that happens, we're gonna have great big hugs, but it'll happen eventually
Yeah.
down the road. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what kind of line of work you do, and everything, and we'll go from there.
So my name is James. I'm a truck driver. I've been driving since 2004. Yeah, is when I got my license, and I purchased my own truck about 8 months ago now. Started my own LLC and doing everything under that. Man,
So
about
yeah,
me.
you're good. You're good. We've been, like I said, we've been friends for I don't know, a couple of years now, and have chatted back and
Yeah,
forth and things like that. So,
right.
um, you know,
Stay
he
on the
has,
West Coast and
yeah,
hibernate
we're just the
through the
opposite.
winter. Yeah, exactly. So usually I run all spring, summer, and fall, and then the wintertime, strictly West Coast. But right now I'm in South Dakota, and I'll do a little bit more running before I head home. And
So what, when you started trucking, like what got you into trucking?
yeah, so it was actually that I was really into, and I always try to hook up with them. and every time he came into town, a few minutes, and so I was like, well, you know what? I'm not doing anything right now. I'll with you for a little bit. So he says, okay, that's no problem with me. So I packed a bag and I was in the truck about a week, and I was like, you know, what? I really like this. And so how do I get into it? And so he told me, well, just go apply at my computer school. So that's what I did. He hooked me up with this recruiter. They sent me to school and got me off there.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
your story's a little bit different. Um,
Right.
on everything that's going on, and I know a lot of people probably don't think about this when they think about drivers. So I would like to touch on that a little bit,
Right.
and you start talking about that for a second because I know it's important to you, and I
Yeah.
think that I couldn't imagine. I know myself. I'm diabetic, so I have
Right.
to see doctors regularly. I have to do a lot of different things, and it's hard to schedule that, maintain that, and do that while being over the road. So I guess we can talk about that a little bit.
Right. So, the thing about me is I'm also HIV positive, and to bring a little bit of light to the subject, trucking, and then HIV, doctors, insurance thing. It's actually not very easy. It's pretty difficult. Uh, the biggest thing is finding a specialist, an HIV specialist, um, familiar with the trucking industry, and that's very difficult. A lot of the times there's scheduling conflicts. Able to schedule 2 weeks out, 3 weeks, never know where I'm going to be. So I have to prioritize my health over money or trucking sometimes.
Right. So you're able to do like the telehealth sometimes, so like some of the televisits or
So that's kind of a recent thing that my doctor's office has adopted. That's helped a lot. So, but I
yeah.
mean, a lot of the times my doctor wants to see and um, go over everything in person, do
Right.
blood work and everything. So
Right. It is helpful for those spur of the moment things, to be able to do the telehealth. It makes it handy, but in your situation,
yeah,
labs are important and different things. Seeing where you're at on things. So it's more of a hands-on thing most of the time. And I get that.
right. Yeah. So it took. I've been with my doctor now for about 8 years. It took a good couple of years for them to really understand that, times when I miss my appointments or I have to reschedule, and he'll be like, okay, we'll just go get your blood work and then we'll do a telehealth, or he'll just call over everything with me. So,
Right.
so the biggest thing for me with my medicine, so I'm not sure you are with the costs of the meds and
Mm.
then the different options for insurance. So as a company driver, you are covered in these group health policy, which does good. At the company that I'm with now, my group health per month was a little over 600, and I was able to working for my company for assistance sometimes. So the way
Right.
is you don't always qualify. So they per quarter to see if so like find a caseworker, and every quarter they'll tell you to come in and bring all your financial, and then they'll go over and they'll see if if your income qualifies you to get any assistance or not. So but since I purchased my truck now I'm whole, and it's very difficult, so I have to pay meds out of my pocket, $9,000 every year. I have to cover for the company will cover, and at that cover half 50% of my medication. The specific med that I'm on is like going through Walgreens or Rite Aid. It's $4,300 per month. I buy it myself. If I go through my group, $3,500 a month. But now I own my truck. I don't group insurance, so I have to purchase my own insurance. Expensive. So there's a lot of times when I can't. But
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
so have you had, like, one of the things that kind of question that comes to mind for me is, when doing this and all of this happening for you and trying to maintain everything and keep it together, I can imagine. Um, I would want to go crazy sometimes because just making appointments for my
it,
mom and dad and making appointments for myself and trying to manage everything, it gets very hectic and it's very stressful at times.
right,
And of course, during that and being on the road and the challenge that you face is with being on the road, your mental health takes a toll when doing that,
right.
and being alone on the road makes it even worse. So how
Yes.
do you, with everything that goes on, how do you manage that?
What was a very traumatic, hard year for me. Some just passed away from dementia. And then just prior to that, my uncle who passed away, and then also my aunt Janice. The
Mhm.
immediate family members who passed um, back. So,
Right.
and then my mom that was really, really traumatic. So pretty rough. And then also, like I said, I bought this truck owner. I I now don't have the luxury of saying take off, or I have
Right.
this emergency. So there every week, and it's been really hard for me. But so just having a support system like you and then everybody on the group, and then my company has been really good to me. So I my bosses, I should say. So not necessarily that they're bad to me, but they're a company. So, but I
Right.
have dispatched close with. I mean, I've been
Do you,
here, but for over 8 years.
now, do you feel, um, maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but do you feel in the past or any of the companies you've worked for has treated you any different?
Yeah. So I've only been at this and that since I was diagnosed. So, and then biggest problem has been insurance. So when I was a company driver with time here, um, there a lot of times when I was not covered. So second time I actually uh, did the lease through my company. First time, um, I didn't I didn't realize that I wouldn't qualify for their group coverage anymore. And here came, I missed signing up for any insurance, and so I had to entire year. And I went to my boss, and what happened was I got sick. So like I don't know, 6 months into not having my medicine, I and ended up with pneumonia. And I listen, I've been here for a long time, and really sick. And I prior to this, I didn't tell anyone positive at my work, um, because really you don't go buddy. You tell
Right.
your sexual partners, have to tell. Um, but you don't unnecessarily, just holding up a sign. So anyway, so I just had to tell my boss, and it was you don't want to be discriminated against, and you never know what's going to happen. But I was I had already been in the hospital a few times, and hospital they don't give you the medicine that the caseworker. But I fall into this weird company driver because my income is over the $67 threshold.
Hmm.
So, but anyways, I told my boss, I said, well, I'm here, you for a long time, and I know you love me, I love you. I really need help. I said, so I stand up and give me some medical help here. And then I was fortunate because when they no time with you, they were able to get me the help that I needed. And so they stood up and needed to do.
That's awesome, though. I mean, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, I want to believe that there is a lot of good companies out there. It's just, the turnover
Right.
rate for companies
So,
is so bad. So
well, here's my theory about it is that the company is good or bad. It's really all about the people that are working that your direct management has. And so fortunate that where I got into, I've built with them and I'm really close with them, all of them. I've got um, friends that I've made with my coworkers and then also with management team, my support team.
so um, it's hard enough. So just questions popped to my mind, so we're just going to
Yeah,
go with that for a second.
yeah,
Like,
that
it's
works.
hard enough being a gay male in today's society and finding a relationship, and then
Yeah.
it's hard enough being a truck driver and trying to find a relationship. So mix that together, and then being HIV positive. I How does that work when
So, well, I mean, I'm with my partner, and so, um,
do you feel it's
well,
more
so
challenging though?
yeah, it's definitely more challenging partner because in the beginning, everybody never, people say, you know, I need you to come home. And they think, well, you could just come home. It doesn't work. You know, you got to get with the planner, and the planner's got to get you in the right direction. And sometimes they have to zigzag you across the country. I mean, best plan, right? So, I mean, sometimes it could take too long time for my partner to, for my to me trucking and what that meant.
Right. Well, I mean,
But
I understand
yeah,
that. So, like, do you feel, I guess what I was trying to ask a little bit was, do you feel as a man who is HIV positive, and I know that's just a very, very small part of you,
yeah,
and but the thing is, do you feel that it makes it harder to find a partner relationship
right.
wise?
Yeah, it definitely did. You know, well, my partner is, but prior to being with my partner, yeah, it's so. First of all, you way that it works is you have to be in care regularly. You go to the doctor. You have to have had your blood work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sexual relationship with somebody, unless your numbers are, because so I was always really embarrassed. Like you tell somebody anyways, but then you don't want to test. You can have sex with them, so your numbers have to be good. You have to be undetectable, be on your meds. Approach. That's the way that I always did it, because part of a relationship, and so
Right.
I wanted to go to somebody and be like, well, I can't have sex now, but I like you. So, and then,
How?
you know, being educated. Well, first of all, any any person old enough to have sex and who is having sex should understand STIs, you know, sexually transmitted diseases, and then you should not be acting as an adult having, do not understand how they're transmitted, what they are. That you just shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
So, um, but anyways, yeah. So now I'm very well educated as HIV, and I know that I cannot transmit it to somebody when, but it is a very hard conversation to have still.
Right.
There's
Um,
so many uneducated games I have that
so some of
just
my own
still don't know.
uneducated, it's this is my own me being uneducated, but like I don't know. Um, so how long does it take on your medicines, and how long does it take generally for someone to become undetectable, like to get into that?
Undetectable. Okay, so right, depends on several factors. So it depends on what your numbers are to begin with when you started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, so for instance, and I'll talk about it now. I'm actually off my med. I fell into a donut hole. So middle of the year when I purchased this truck, I lost my through my employer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not a life qualified. So I had to wait until open enrollment, unfortunately, and so I ran out of my meds, and I'm like, okay, either either I stay where I'm at, continually throttle myself anyways at work, right, in order to qualify, and you can't make over the $67,000, and so I had to always throttle myself, and so finally I was like, I'm trying to be successful, and for me, I looked into everything, and I wanted to, and I probably should have waited until it was closer to open enrollment, my meds. But yes, so I have been off my, and I get my insurance back in January. I already have my first doctor's appointment is January 3rd, and so what in the doctor already wrote me a prescription, fill the prescription for the last medication that I was taking on the first, and I'll start taking that. My numbers shouldn't be bad. I've been off my meds for a few months now, and when I go in, I be detectable. And if that's the case, take me a couple of weeks with this medicine, to become back down to undetectable.
Okay. I just
So
didn't
it
know,
really
so
doesn't
I kind of.
take that long. Yeah, no, it take me very long, but it's different for everybody. So it responds to it. It depends on what your CD4 count is. I mean, there's several variables that you take
Right.
into account with it.
Now, I know that you have talked to me a little bit about like different organizations that help and different people that's out there advocating for people and all these different
Right,
things. So,
right. So there, AFAN. There's the Ryan. People have heard about the Ryan White program, which is what we have. This is what I normally use for assistance. I said earlier in the beginning, the medication is very, very, very expensive. So without one of the assistance programs, or without one of the assistance group coverage policy at work to help cover it, it's difficult to get the medication. So um, yeah, so I fell into this donut hole, and I've just been stuck in this donut hole.
right. So, I know that I have never seen anybody talk about this in trucking at all,
Right,
ever, to really touch on this subject. And so I thank you for at least talking to us about it because I think
right.
um, I think it's awesome to be so brave and just
Um,
to be open and talk about it because you're just going to help others feel comfortable in their own skin and who they are, and no matter what their status is. And I always feel that educating others on topics is so important. And
you know, there are statistics about drivers with HIV, or just not even gay, just truck drivers with HIV.
right,
So um, we are a community. Yeah, it is difficult to talk about it. It's not, but I'm really fortunate. So I have for the same company that I'm at. They all know everything about me, and uh, they're all straight. So
right.
it's really it's my friends are amazing. I love my really here at work. So
Well, having a good support group like that and a place that supports you and who you are, and that's very
right,
important. It is very important.
yeah,
You know, I I can't imagine, and I don't want to. In my own personal, I can't imagine um, having to go through all the stuff that you go through and trying to find the money to pay for those medicines and all the different stuff. That's
right,
just a scary number. I don't see how anyone can afford that.
right. And it's been difficult. So like I said, you have to throttle yourself at work. So I mean, there would be times when dispatcher, who now is my service center manager, but there would hey, I can't drive anymore, because if I drive anymore, I'll be old and I will not qualify for financial aid to get my medication. Like, so that's it. So yeah, no, yeah,
So you have to keep
it's
track
been
of
really it's
exactly
been
how
really
much you can drive
and yeah, and
per
having to
month.
decide, yeah, exactly, how much I drive to control the income that I was making. And it's difficult to choose, pay for my medication, or rent, or be successful or not. So as I held myself at the poverty level, which is actually percent of poverty level, right, which is the 67,500, then I would qualify for the different programs, Medicaid. But as soon as I purchased this truck now, because they don't go by net income. One of the things that we know as truck drivers, right,
Yeah.
especially if you lead truck, we have very high gross income, and in my case, I don't know, but I have a pretty low, so I have a very high gross, and if you look at it on paper, $2,000 gross, and then you're taking home 80,000. Like, so, but
Right.
I'm right in that donut, and so I had to choose die basically, and that's probably been the hardest thing is that everybody keep an arm's length, so they're not emotional. So, yeah, and then like I get the social workers all the time. When you're on HIV, you go into a national database, a national registry, and when you're on your meds, everything's fine. They don't, but they know when you're not on your meds, and they call you all the time. The calls that I get on a regular basis, you come in, we need to qualify you, and I'm hey, I don't qualify for any of these. So, but they still make you come in. Like, yep, you're right, you don't qualify.
Wow. So,
So it's pretty rough.
if you don't mind me
And
asking
then like
this,
just recently, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
just
no, you're
recently I
fine. But like,
had somebody said, well, why don't you go? So just for instance, GoodR is 3,800. I remember earlier, but I already don't remember exactly. I think it was $3,800.
wow.
So, and then another one of my Mexico to get her medication, and she said, "Well, just give me the, and I'll check." $1,500. So, for how I try to navigate it, it's very difficult as the meds and the price and the.
So obviously, with everything, I'm sure that at this point in your life about being educated and educating others is very, very important.
Mhm.
And of course, pushing,
Yes.
safe sex and know your status and all these types of things
Yes.
are very, very important things for people to talk about. And it doesn't mean just because you're LGBTQ, straight people, and that's a huge misconception. I mean, it's
Right.
just as
And
HIV/AIDS is spread with straight people just as much as gay people. It does not matter. I know there's always these
right.
things that they claim that it's a
And a lot of people don't under HIV is not AIDS. So it's the human immune or the advanced immuno my head. So, but yeah, they're two different things. So AIDS, you have to have had HIV, not been on, and then once your CD4 goes below 200, then you're classified as AIDS.
right, right, and it's basic, and
So
it's
it's advanced
basically
immune deficiency
just like advanced,
syndrome.
progressed, and then you go into that and that's just basically
Exactly.
from not knowing your status and not taking care of yourself properly is how
Yes.
that advances.
Right.
But like I said,
Exactly.
it is with straight people just as much as gay people, just as much. It
It
doesn't
is.
matter. It doesn't choose. It doesn't pick and choose. And so I just want to get that out there because a lot of people have that misconception that it is an LGBTQ or gay virus, and it's not. It's not true. And
Right. That's not true.
someone asked, how can truckers get tested anonymously while out on the road? I do know that there is a lot of health departments that you can
Yes.
call in. And I know actually, I have a friend who is over the health department in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yes.
And he, in his parking lot, if you call ahead, he'll let you pull at the end of the parking lot and they'll actually come out and do the swabs and tests and do everything right there, and then they'll call you back. And if
Yeah.
they know
So
your situation,
right. And it so nowadays it's free to get tested at most. Yep. And condoms usually are free. They hand out condoms to everybody. You
yep,
just go to your health center, or you can to AHF. That's where my doctor is. The organization
mhm,
that helps people with HIV navigate them, right? So they have doctors. Most have doctors in house. They also have caseworkers actually help organize everything that you need, help you get all the paperwork in order to get the different care, and they'll tell you what you don't qualify for.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, check out, I would instantly say, check out the web. The internet is an amazing thing. Don't believe everything and don't believe all the statistics, but you can literally get all the information you need on the web when it comes to contacting health departments and different areas you're going through. But like I said, I know in Indianapolis, there is a health department that will actually let you drive up in a semi truck at the end of their parking lot. And I think that's amazing. They also did it during COVID. If you need to be COVID tested or any of that type of stuff, they were doing COVID shots and all that at the end of their parking lot. So it is out there.
Right.
You just got to ask. You just got to ask about it.
Yeah.
So, on the road and what you're doing now, do you still find peace of what you're doing? Do you enjoy it? I mean, I know it's challenging with everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
So
be out here doing it if you didn't like it. So,
I mean, it's kind of the same. Like, I'm sure you hear me say it's changed a lot. That the industry has changed a lot. So it was started. Truckers helped each other. Yeah. If you saw the first question was, "Hey, are you okay? You need water?" And now it's that. And then also the same with the four-wheelers. So there's just very little respect in a lot of regards, and it's frustrating. But I think that that's the same thing that
I feel it's I see it in trucking, but then anymore I see it everywhere. It
right.
doesn't it's not just trucking,
It's
it's just
true.
everywhere. It's everywhere. When I
Yeah.
go to
Everybody.
Walmart, when I'm going to the store,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It's everywhere that we go, and I absolutely think that the disrespect that happens to everybody, nobody just doesn't care anymore. Like
Everybody's
it's
in a
them or
rush.
nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
Everybody's in a rush. Everybody has to. I'm more important than you. Yeah. It's true. It's everywhere. And during the holidays, it gets really, really bad. I mean, it's the
which
time, right? Like everybody, but but no, it is so stressed to so many people.
during the holiday season, I feel that it's the one time that you're supposed to care and share with others and everybody, like today there was a lady that asked me, did you get your holiday shopping done? And I really don't shop for holidays anymore. I
Right.
don't, because I make it about us being together. It's not about the gifts. We buy each other stuff all year long, and I buy myself stuff all year long. It's not about the gifts at all. I guess when I was a kid, there was that nostalgia of it, of waking up in the morning and going down and getting the presents and everything.
Right.
But now I'm just thankful
Yeah,
that
but when I was a kid, my grandma used to just wrap anything. Ours of so little things of cookies. Like so, we had like hundreds of it that you never knew what you got.
that's funny.
Yeah.
So I have a hard question, and
Sure.
so I have a hard question, but so do you know when you contracted or when this
Yes.
happened to you?
Well,
And do you know who your partner was and all that stuff? I mean, I know some people don't,
right.
and
All right. So I'm gonna go even a little. So I get this a lot too. Well, if you were a whore, right? You must have slept with a lot of people, or whatever. So, all right. So I'm gonna just get pretty. I'm actually a recovering addict. I've been for over 13 years. I, I had gotten clean, and I was struggling for 2 years, and I was um anyway, sorry. I was gonna try to avoid it, but anyway, so after it was after I got clean. I went to and in rehab they test you, they send you to the doctor, and they did an initial blood test. Test came back that there was something wrong, and to go to this specialist. I went there, and that's when they did the IB test, and my whole world immediately. I know. So I got it from drugs, and it was my very first time. Didn't know. I didn't know what question to ask, and I was pressured into doing something, and it in the dirty. So, anyways, that's what happened. So, yeah,
I love you. I'm so sorry that
I'm happy I'm clean now, right? So,
I.
I look back, so yeah, it was a really rough time, and I'm at in my life, even with what's going on and what I have. I mean, way healthier now than I ever was. I'm a much better human.
But I
So
mean,
I just
even it it just goes to show that it only takes one time,
one time,
and
yeah,
and
and
and it doesn't have to
the
be
other
set.
thing is
It can be
doesn't
multiple ways that it's
yep,
so.
and don't just a book by its cover, like or hear something and you should always like you know hear and make an assessment on your own using your own critical thinking subject. But really, if you're having sex, there is zero excuse. You need to understand STI that you could possibly get, and how it's just anything to do with sex. Like, you're an adult, everybody should take responsibility for this
Right.
and what they're subjecting themselves to.
No, it's not always, it's not always bad, and I know this. And me and you,
Yeah,
we've had plenty of conversations on the phone and all these different
right.
things. And I love you dearly. I
Oh yeah,
always, you do a great big hug that's coming was the moment that we ever meet. But
right, right,
the thing is, you know, um, it's only a part of you, and I say that
yeah,
because I don't instantly say, oh well, this is my friend James that I talk to, and he's HIV positive. I don't, that's
right.
the
I
farthest thing
like
from my mind. It's one of those things. It's
it's
like
so
me being gay. It's just a part
right,
of me. If you don't know, you don't know. If you do, you do. But I don't know how you
right.
wouldn't. But anyway, but it's one of
So
those things. And but I know that you love to travel. I know you've been some really awesome places.
yeah, so I just
And
got back from India not too long, and then I'm going to Puerto Vallarta on the 11th, and then I'm going on May 1, and then after that I'm going to Ireland.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
love traveling.
Yeah, so I knew that was an important thing for you. So like on the road, do you do anything else, whether it be like pictures or games, or is there anything that a thing that keeps you sane in your truck? Things that you
No,
or just
I literally until I'm exhausted, and then I come back. I work out. I try to work out a lot. So since I bought this truck, actually my free time has, but I try to go to the gym as often as possible. Gone to the gym probably for, I don't know, it's been a good month. I'm on a little bit of weight, and I'm getting frustrated. But I normally is the gym. That's what keeps me sane. Yeah,
so
the
it
gym.
may sound like a stupid question, but like, and I'm just asking. So
Oh yeah,
when
no.
you gain weight or poor
Mhm.
health habits and eating and diet and all that type of stuff, does any of that affect? Does it
Yes,
affect
it
it really?
all can affect. Yes, it can. And just your health. But yeah, I know. So I've had high cholesterol before, um, and to get my cholesterol down, HDL all under control. Um, but eating unhealthy and not getting enough X definitely throw your numbers out.
Okay. I mean,
So,
I figured this much since, you know, everything in
right,
your body plays hand in hand, and
right,
when you have
and
one
then
thing, so
it's also mental in the beginning. So a lot of it is about our mental health. Another area that goes unchecked, for because of the stigma, they don't get the medical that they need as far as their own mental health and their mental stability. With HIV, also those two actually go hand in hand. A lot of depression that can come with
but do you think that's
having HIV
because
and the stigma.
of do you think that's because of judgment? Like they feel that they're being
It part of it, yeah. The other part of it is health. Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. I really don't had the really uneducated people horrible things to me, but it's really very rare once in a blue moon that I get something like that. Yeah, most I think a lot of people now are respectful, and if it's not something, I get a lot of questions too, like if I'm ever on Grinder or something. Yeah, you get lots of questions. People just
well, you
ask.
know, I mean, even me, I can even relate because I had a really close friend, Michael,
Hmm.
that passed away, but
Yeah,
he just being his friend, and we were friends for years. He'd come to my house, whatever. I didn't care about his status. His status was the
right.
farthest from my mind. I mean, I cared in the fact of I wanted him to
So
stay healthy, and
that's a
you know what I'm
good
saying?
right. So this brings up a good, I don't know who will all see this, so whatever. But I mean, it's the so when I was first diagnosed, I'm not kidding you. I was at rehab, right? And when I was
Mhm.
released from rehab, was when I got diagnosed, basically. And I was staying with my cousin because so out of rehab, you have to have a sim. So I was staying with my cousin in Texas, and with me when I got diagnosed, and she said, "Well, I still love you, but I knew bowls and you know cups and plates and and it's that is a sweet story that really happened. And I'm not saying nothing bad, about my cousin, but
Well, I mean, people
we
don't
get that
know.
a lot,
They don't know, and
right?
they don't educate themselves enough to
Yeah,
know how you can contract it, what how it
get it
happens,
that
and
way. You can't get it that way. You don't get it through saliva. You can't. No,
you don't get it through sharing a toilet seat. It's not, you know,
no,
there's so many people that there, and but seriously, there were people that thought that I was HIV positive for the longest time, and it was because I was um, we had Miss Red Ribbon pageant, and I always would enter the Miss Red Ribbon pageant, and all the funds to that went
right,
for the AIDS Memorial Garden and HIV Garden that we have up there in West Virginia. And a lot of people
right,
might be surprised that we have that, but we do in Charleston, West Virginia. There's an AIDS Memorial Garden, and there is a brick for every person in West Virginia that passes away of HIV or AIDS.
right,
And they put it in this garden, and it's a big rose garden. It's beautiful, but you know, even me associating myself and putting myself out there, you know, I didn't think about it. I never think about those type of things because I don't think
right,
that way. But
right,
I got a lot of hate from people, and people instantly thought that I was HIV positive because I was supporting these people and fundraising, and I'm like, what? Like, you know, but it's
right,
stupid. It's stupid, and it's just uneducation and people not knowing that, you know, I just was supporting a wonderful cause, and I had many
right.
people that I love dearly that passed away, and
Mhm.
because at that point in time, you know, you're talking, you know, the early 2000s, and
Right,
people weren't as educated about things, and so it just, I don't know, you know, I know that we know a lot more now than we know we did then, and there's a lot more
right. And
medications.
yes, that's what I was just gonna say. So we've got some really exciting, and yeah, so new medication that was just, this is for PrEP and for HIV. It's shots now. So for me, for HIV, it's available. My insurance will cover it yet or not. I won't find that out until. the first 2 months I can go in and get a shot. So yeah. So what was it, out of Australia? The doctors just believe they found a cure, so they're working. But they have genetically modified blood cells, re-injected them back into the CRISPR, are using CRISPR, and yeah. So in animal tests, they HIV.
Right.
So
Right. And that, I mean,
they're working on
that's
it.
very
So
exciting things. That's really exciting things to
right.
look forward. But I mean, even from the days of just where everybody was checking their T cell counts, and because that back in the day, that was just a thing. Everybody knew a T cell
Yeah.
count, and there was like one or two medicines, and in a lot of it was trial and error.
Yeah.
Because it,
Yeah, and those old medicines used to make people so. And then that's the other thing too that people ask me all the time. Well, why don't they don't make a generic? So
right,
they don't have my medication form. So well, not just my medication, the top 3 medications they don't. So
right. So,
and then the older ones that they found that cause the liver damage and the kidney damage. Those are the ads on TV for the lawsuits.
right.
So it's the stripe build. So
Yeah, because just like having cancer, and you take what those medicines were doing was it was stripping all the good away in your body and making you just as sick. Um, and yes, it was helping, but it wasn't helping. If that makes any sense, because a lot of people died just from like side
right.
effects.
So even what do you call that? Catch 22, right? So it
Right.
was saving your life, but at the same time, but you really didn't have any choice. You had to take it if now.
So do you
So
ever? I know that my friend Michael, his one question he hated the most
right.
was, "But you don't look sick."
Right. Well, no, because I'm healthy. I'm actually healthier now. So I go to the doctor regularly. I'm, not right, but I will. Normally I am. I go to the
Right.
doctor regularly. I have, in the gym. I'm more conscious about who I am, the foods that I put in my mouth, the things that I'm eating, going to the gym. I'm healthier now than I ever was. I never went to the doctor. So yeah, just in general,
So
I'm much healthier.
how do you um, how do you handle like when emergency situations happen, um, or car accidents, or you cut yourself and you're bleeding, or have you had any
Yeah,
of these
so
things happen? I'm
yeah,
just asking.
I have. So when some you're so this is where right there. So there's a line. So undetectable, and you're on meds and health, not have to disclose that information to anybody because you can transmit it. Well, let me clarify, to your sexual part in an emergency situation. Like you don't have to. That's not. You don't have to worry about anybody. So as long as you know your numbers and you're undetectable. Well, yeah.
Okay. Have you
So
had
that's
any scary situations of your own?
no. I'm I keep myself like I don't put myself in danger. I'm not. You're not gonna catch me climbing, or I'm too old to be driving. Too yeah.
Okay.
Although I think in my other car I did climb. Because didn't we had that app that shared
Yes.
with our friends, right? We had that. Yeah. I went pretty fast a couple of times on it, but no, normally a dangerous situation.
Like something like sitting on top of a, what was it? You were sitting on top of a cliff doing your drone the one time. I remember that. So and I
So
stole your videos.
right, so that was one of the many times visit my mom. So my mom
Mhm.
lived in Oregon and I'm in Vegas, and so when she got sick, that was another, but that was really traumatic So after getting clean is when I found out that my mom was sick. So which is the reason why I got clean, is my aunt, my mom's sister, said, "You're killing your mom." She said, "Don't you," like, she screamed, like, "Don't you care what you're doing?" And the reason why I got clean, because I was just fed up with myself, and at that point, life just went right into the dumps. Um, but anyways,
But your now
like, it never.
your mom was sick for a
Huh?
while though, was she? Was sick for
My mom was sick for a while, yes. So it started progressing faster and faster towards uh, and that's one thing I will say is I was fortunate to do a lot of the grieving through the process. It never got easier.
right.
It never got easier. But yeah, so but that helped me get clean, and then, you know, now stay clean.
So I know you have like your cousin and a couple other. Are you still close with family members and everything is
Yeah.
better now?
Oh yeah, it's much better now. I'm healthier financially. Like I said, I made amends for everything that I did in my past, and actions and not my words. I proved that I am. Uh, I do a lot of different charity events. I do everything I can to help anybody that I can, and I work really hard. I have a really strong work ethic. And if you were to houses and friends, they would all rave about me. So yes, through actions, I have very
So
strong bonds, and I've repaired all my relationships.
well, we pretty much have made it for almost for an hour.
Yeah.
Um, I thank you so
Hopefully,
much. I really do. You're so
I
brave, and
really this helps people. And really quickly, I'll just say, anybody needs help or has questions, not that I'll know the answer, but you're more than welcome to come to me. That was one of the things when I was first diagnosed, is I didn't know where to go. And I was scared, and so if you're ever in that situation, by all means, you can reach out to me any time of day. It doesn't do everything I can to help.
well, and like I said, the key to everything is education, awareness, and knowing your status. And I feel that those are such important things that you really, really need to do.
Yeah.
Um, this person says, any advice to a driver hiding their status?
Hiding their status? No. If you're hiding it, then I feel like there's a reason. So I was in a situation where I was kind of like, I did it to myself, but I was forced, right? And then friends all knew, and now I'm in a situation where everybody knows, and I'm got everything, and I'm fortunate for that. But if you're in a situation you're not comfortable yet, it's gonna take a lot of time. It may never happen, and you don't ever have to tell anybody. Like I said, so the only people you have to that you have responsibility to tell that that you love, and your sexual partners, to the
Right.
law.
Right. And I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, you don't have to always disclose. I'm an open book, and I know you pretty much now are an open book as well. You talk
I am
about
too.
things and try to.
Yeah.
So I mean, I live my life that way, but that's why we have the page. That's why we do. That's why I wanted to sit and do this. We've talked for months about this, of us going to do an interview together, just to
Right.
open that chat because people don't talk about it. And people, I really think, will be surprised that you're a truck driver and out here doing this. And I think that it will open that thought in their head for a moment,
Right.
just for them to think about, oh my gosh, I really, I never thought about this. And um, so yeah, it's just important everybody to know your status, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to do, and you literally can. I mean, you can actually have tests sent to your house
There's
now, technically. And,
no excuse to not know your status.
right. I mean, you can actually.
Everybody.
There's the test things that you can put in the test tube
Yeah.
thing, and you send it back in the mail. I mean, you pretty much can be like
I mean,
anonymous, but not
it's
anonymous if you really want. I mean, you really don't even have to go into an
yeah,
office to
right.
know. So
No.
but it's you know, it's very important to know and keep up
Yes.
with it.
Everybody
And
should. Yeah.
and even in today's world, accidents happen. You know, there's people that are born
Yes.
and you know, they didn't do anything, and they didn't, you know, but
Yep.
but a lot of people from the outside is gonna be like, oh, well, how did you? And it's just not. It's just education. You just got to learn and understand that it's out there like everything else. And so just talking about it makes it. I think it makes it. I won't say makes it easier, but I feel like talking about it just, you know, I
Helps.
don't know
Well,
why it's not talked about.
right. So if we're able to help even one person, like it's not the end of the world, right? So I remember
Right.
when I was like so many things going on, I I was just getting clean and going through that process, and that by itself was had this, and it was just so much emotion. I didn't know how to stay clean. I didn't um know how to live. So it was really, really difficult to help anybody through a difficult process. That's good. But yeah, your life is not over. There's, now there's a lot of organizations that get through everything. So, and then you and us.
And the
So,
thing, you know, the thing about that is also everyone has to remember that even though right now you have like your little loophole area of your insurance and all that type of stuff,
yes.
you're still in contact with your doctors. You're already
Right.
planning
So,
your
yeah.
appointments. You're on
So
top of it still, and you know, so
right things.
you've figured out what works for you, if that makes sense,
Yes.
to keep yourself
Yep. I have.
managed and moving.
Yep. Yes.
And
Yeah.
not
So the
just your doctoring, but like the health wise, what you're eating and your gym and all this other
yes.
stuff. So you're managing it in multiple ways, and so it's not
Yeah.
just as easy as I'm calling up a doctor. Doctor's going to fix it. It's a whole life change that
Right.
you have to make and a mindset
Yes.
you have to do.
Yes, it is.
So you know
So
it all plays hand in hand. So just remember that. But yeah, James is an amazing person. He's on Facebook. You can reach out to him if you want to. He's sweet as can be. He pretty much talks to everybody, even though he's kind of shy at times.
yeah. I actually.
But
Yeah.
so anything else you want to say before we go?
No. No. I thank everybody for joining, and yeah, if you have any questions, just
All right. Well, we thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon. And thank you everybody for tuning in today, and we will talk to you later. Bye,
all right.
everyone.